Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As we got here tonight on this wonderful Wednesday, we have the Underdog Racing League for their Xfinity Series at the wonderful Circuit of the Americas, as these drivers look to take on this giant 3.43 mile track here with 16 tough turns. We are going to be on set for a beautiful race here, I'm for sure, as we got some new updates and changes to the cars and tires. So these drivers are all learning here at the moment right now in practice, trying to get better as they get closer to this qualifying session. But first, let's give a shout out to the sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and the Underdog Racing League. First, we want to give a special shout out to ButtKicker. Make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com and use our promo code FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker, and you can feel what you've been missing. Head on over also to the Maconi Setup Shop, the home of the official setup shop for the Richmond Raceway esports team, with the likes of drivers such as Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, where you can head on over to their website at www.maconisetupshop.com today and use our promo code FFB10 to get 10% off of any setup purchase there at the Maconi Setup Shop. And also, just for $25 an hour, you can get coaching lessons from all of their drivers there, which they have a wide variety of there. So make sure you go head on over to their website and check them out at the Maconi Setup Shop. But we also want to shout out to the league here of Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC, as they are the primary sponsor here at the Underdog Racing League, and they help put on all the action here. And they say our customers say we're the best in the business. We specialize in residential and commercial construction. We've been in business for over 15 years, and we only use the best materials and are dedicated to completing each project in a timely manner. There's nothing more important than having a house to call your home. So make sure you go check out Ultimate Siding and Gutters LLC, as they are a wonderful sponsor here at the Underdog Racing League. But now, on to the racing action. I'm Zach Hopp in the booth. Joined alongside me tonight, is my pleasure to say, is Sam Dyer, as he'll be calling the action here alongside me. And we'll have Robert Moore Jr. up in the production box as always. Sam, thanks for joining us here on this wonderful Wednesday, man. It's going to be fun here watching some road course racing here at the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to be back covering the Underdog Racing League. I was back helping you with the Truck Series back, and now get to see the Xfinity guys at the Circuit of the Americas. This course, we were expecting it to be a handful before today's patch that came in. iRacing brought in a massive overload of updates for almost every single car, every single track, it seemed like. So a lot of different changes happening. Drivers weren't sure if they were even going to get into the session, but luckily they got in. We're ready for racing, and it is going to be a fun one here tonight, Zach. And I know you got to test drive and get a feel of what these drivers are going to be handling, because what they were dealing with yesterday, completely different to today.
Oh, it's a completely different change. You know, we talked a lot of times about ice skating. It felt like on the tires that we had before here on the Xfinity car and the other stock cars when it came to road course racing. It just always seemed like you were never in the racetrack and you never had the right amount of grip that you thought you had. But I tell you what, the iRacing update they brought has really gave the tires some, you can almost feel like you can lean on the tires more than you used to and really use them. And definitely a lot more grip for these drivers. It's going to be fun to watch. I think the more grip they got out there, the better racing they'll be able to put on as they try to put power down in these tight little corners. And then you got high-speed section here is also where you got to really be tiptoeing right on the edge of the grip level, because the one thing I can tell you just from the testing I did today, the high-speed sections are a little bit loose, but you can drive right on the edge of the limit and it won't step over if you hold it there, but it can quickly get sideways. It's going to be fun to watch as these drivers try to master this update, and that's one thing that's cool. They got to learn this all on the fly.
Yeah, and being on the edge is something we're going to be seeing during qualifying, as drivers are going to have to make sure that they're on their best behaviors, because they're going to have 10 minutes to try to put down the best time possible as practice has just come to a close. And Zach, a little bit of a different qualifying than we're used to seeing usually here tonight for these drivers. 10 minutes, put down the best time you can, but the limits is where we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers having issues, because getting incident points from driving off of the racing surface was one of the biggest things that we had to touch on back when they were running the trucks on Wednesday nights. They're now in the Xfinity cars. That limit is still there of driving over the track limit. How difficult is it going to be for these drivers to get a clean lap that's going to count for this start of the race?
Oh, that is the hardest part, I think, of this qualifying session is all about not overstepping the track boundaries. And I can tell you what, these track boundaries are not forgiving. You see the green AstroTurf on a lot of these curbs on the outside of the red and white curb there. That green area of AstroTurf is out of bounds technically in the NASCAR track here. So when you dip off a tire there, it's going to give you an incident, and that's going to deactivate that time, and you're not going to get that lap to count. So we'll have to restart that back all over again. And with it being around 2 minutes and 20-second laps here, that's a long time to get around this track with 10 minutes. If you mess up your one lap, you got to make sure you get back in there really quick, reset, get that car back on pit road, and get back out there immediately, because you might not have that many attempts with how long this track is.
And you also are seeing group qualifying underway for this 10-minute stint, which is meaning you got to hope that you've got enough space around you to get a clean run, because you might feel like you're on a massive speedy lap, but then a driver in front of you could make contact and validate that time. So drivers have to work with one another. Teammates also could be trying to help them to draft on these long stretches. So there's a lot of different factors that group qualifying could be an issue, but also can be a blessing at times.
Yeah, that's going to be the question. Do you want the big toe down the big back straightaway there to help that lap time? But it's also going to hurt in those high-speed sections to be in that dirty air following. And that's where we're going to see which drivers pick to do it. I would imagine your best chance, open up as big a gap as possible in front of you, have the cleanest track available so you can hit your marks, stay on that racing surface, and not get an incident. But, you can't waste time either by, building that gap because of how long it takes to get around here. There's a lot of different things going through the driver's mind right now. It's all going to come down to who can be the clutch driver at this moment.
Clutch is going to be one of the biggest things coming into the qualifying. Fastest car on track was that of Jason Finsler. Finsler, looking back at that truck series from last season, he was the fastest driver, not the fastest lap, but he wasn't the most consistent. So he came up second. We're going to wait and see if Trevor Earhart can try to retain his victory that he got here last season in the trucks. We can now get it in a different vehicle here in the Xfinity cars. Certainly drivers are trying to figure out how to space themselves out. This is probably one of the most difficult things of group qualifying is you had the first about 3 drivers that took off initially to try to get on their warm-up lap. Then everyone else was kind of, dicing back and forth. Do you want to go? No, you can go. I don't know. And they all, about a group of 6, all came out at once. So drivers trying to find their patience as some drivers are out on their actual lap time. Others still on their warm-up lap and still even trying to get to the starting point is the 28 off course.
And just like that, your lap is invalidated, and Dane Moyer going to have to redo that one there. Probably want to get that car reset also with how much he locked up those tires. But we'll see as he gets it back onto the racing surface as Jason Finsler heading off into turn 1 in that 5 machine. See if he can put down a representative time like he did there in practice. As he won our Daytona road course race, so he looked very good in the Xfinity car at the road course. Maybe he can continue to carry that over here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, seeing other drivers trying to work with one another. You got, Ray Lane as well as Trevor Earhart together going through the S's. So it was Trevor Earhart, the most consistent of the drivers, going to be winning last season. We'll see if he can continue on with the speed that he's got, just trying to stay on the track surface. You see the rumble strips, but you feel like you want to just touch the rumble strips to help you out. But at the same time, it is dangerous to try to get that close. So you never know. You find yourself being spun around.
Yeah, you'll notice here as we ride on board, you see those little yellow curves on the inside of the red and white curve. That is something you do not want to hit. That thing, I tell you, in the practice laps that I did do here today, I hit those a few times, and it almost tips you over. So you'll see right there in the inside of that curve is a little yellow, almost sausage curve there, and it definitely will tip that car to the side. And I wouldn't be surprised if you could get hit there and even get flipped over. So got to be careful all night. Watch out for those curves. Could even get some engine damage for hard landings.
Got to be careful of the little turtles that are inside, a little bit further than where we want to be. And you saw that slight jump 25 had. That's from him bouncing off of that yellow marker. Currently, only 2 drivers gotten their times in as we are past halfway in qualifying. It's going to be that of Robert Rader as well. It's Justice Murphy, Heights, and Also, Kierenberg going to be the driver so far. 4 drivers been able to put their time down. Many others are just trying to get themselves a lap in. So some guys moving to the high line, just getting out of the way to still stay on board with lane.
Yeah, I've been watching Earhart in the 25 machine. He's got held up a few times already on his flying lap, catching a few guys from pretty far back. And that was something we talked about. Open qualifying, is going to be possibly an issue, and looks like it's going to possibly hold him up here on his lap. Is right now Robert Rader on top of the board so far with a 2:18.551, and they've already used 6 minutes here, Sam, to get these times in. If you're going to try to get another time in, you're going to have to reset immediately here and go out here and do a very quick out lap to get that lap started.
I think even if you reset and try to get back out there, there's just not enough time to really reset. If you're on track, you're going for this time, because otherwise you're kind of just stuck waiting. There's you're one of those moments where you see how much time's left. If you wanted to reset and try to go get a warm-up lap and then get 1 lap down, I think the last time you could have tried that out was around 5 minutes left in qualifying. Everyone that's out on track, their goal, put down the best lap possible, but Trevor Earhart on a little bit older tires. And Zach, you told us before we went live, you ran a couple of laps, and it seemed like after about, just 1 lap, the tire wear was already, you could tell how much it was wearing down.
Yeah, you can tell a difference. I mean, you'll drop a few, definitely, I'd say at least 6 to 7 tenths on that second lap compared to that first lap. You just get all the good use out of the tires. Now, if Earhart got held up a good bit and he had a good bit more pace in his back pocket, he could go reach down there and grab a faster time on the second lap. I wouldn't be surprised. He does have a car he's coming up on right now, and that's David Boyle. And in that 52 machine, we'll see if he runs up to the back end of that driver. Let's say David was running 228s in the session there, so about 10 seconds slower than Trevor. So I would expect Trevor here to possibly catch him before the end of this lap. That could hamper it a little bit, but we'll see. Like you said, not enough time for them to reset. Didn't even really think about that with how long it takes. You had to be doing that pretty much from 5 minutes on if you wanted to get another shot at a first lap. But still, right now, drivers attempting their second laps, trying to see if they can better it. Right now, Robert Rader, though, with the top time.
As we're seeing some of the drivers and times are being placed and on view cam, and similar spot, but he goes so wide. Trevor Earhart's got to be careful and hoping that that lap is not going to be invalidated with how much he's pushing it out of the final corner. Getting loose, but trying to hold on. Here comes Trevor as he's going to try to best his time.
And he does. Woo! What a second lap there. That's a great job by Trevor to do that on his second lap. Comparing that, here we'll see what Finsler puts down. Looks like he must have got an incident on his lap because there's no lap time being put down for the 5 machine on his second time around. And Rader was in the 220s on his second time around. So Earhart there, that tells me he might have had a little bit in the back pocket there. He was saving for practice, not showing. And that's definitely going to strike a little bit of fear in everybody that he did that on the second lap.
Yeah, and for Trevor, you got to also remember we watched him, like you noted on, maybe 3 or 4 times he was held up on that first lap. So when he was being held up, he might have been saving a little bit of those tires that he really wasn't trying to get aggressive on, because he was around the drivers that were slowing him down just slightly. 40 seconds left here in qualifying as we're seeing just a few more drivers trying to get out there, put some at least some just experience on the course. This track, 3.43 miles in length. It's a long one that's usually ran by the F1 drivers, and those cars are made for downforce. These these drivers in the Xfinity stock cars, certainly a little bit more of a brick compared to the high downforce of an F1 machine.
Oh yes, very, very different. This track and the F1 cars, I've driven both in the sim here, and it's night and day difference. F1 car around here, you're doing completely different things, whereas the stock car, this thing's really tough to get around this tight, twisty circuit, where the F1 car, you really get to feel the grip and the downforce of the car at a type of circuit like this that rewards, those high-speed sectors and those really tight, twisty bits.
Well, it is time. Qualifying has come to a close as our drivers are trying to finish up any moments or final laps they're on, as the session giving the driver some extra time, recognizing, hey, it takes a while to finish a lap here. I believe the drivers still have about 2 minutes and 40 seconds to finish a lap time or just park it and reset. So drivers still racing around as see the drivers getting around here. But Zach, it's been a long season for these drivers, been setting up. We're now past halfway of the regular season, playoffs around the corner. What are some drivers that you're hoping and expecting to have some good showings, and who are some drivers that you feel like need to just have a great top 10 to top 5 finish for themselves?
Well, one driver I'm really looking at that needs a good finish is Ray Lane, 55. Sitting in that seventh position right now. Not the fastest times they're turned in qualifying and practice for Ray Lane, but he's been a driver that's been very, very good on the ovals this season, but hasn't really got the finishes that he's deserved. Maybe tonight could be a struggle for him, but he could still go out there and be consistent, keep it on the racing surface, and get a good finish. But one driver I also look to, the second place man, Trevor Earhart, not had the greatest season in the Xfinity car. I think he'd tell you that himself. So to come out here tonight to possibly try to get himself in victory lane and compete for a win here on this track, I think it's going to be very important for him to get as many points as possible to turn that season around for that 25 machine.
Still about a minute and a half to go as drivers are resetting, and we'll then get ourselves underway. Another factor we could touch on before the race starts is the fact of weather. We're here in Austin, Texas, where it can get extremely hot, ambient temperature being 74 degrees, but the track temp 109. I'm just wondering, Zach, with how hot it is and with the temperatures of this track and the way that it can evolve throughout today's race, these drivers are going to be slipping and sliding, even with the new extra grip that they feel like they grabbed for themselves.
Oh, yeah. I talked about how much grip we gained. You still slipping and sliding around, especially the rear end. The front feels like it's actually got a lot more grip now, so it points a lot quicker, which can mean that that rear end can kick out a lot faster, especially in the high-speed sectors. I noticed that a lot, especially through the right, that triple right-hander there to end the lap. That corner right there, really unstable right on that left rear tire, almost going around, and then you got to go into the braking zone to get it turned back right onto that right rear. It's kind of an interesting little section, so I watched there tonight to be maybe a few mistakes where you could set up a pass into the final corner if you get a good run out of the penultimate corner there of that left-hander.
Drivers are just giving their final all clears to one another. We are just a couple of seconds away from drivers getting set up here to grid up to race at the Circuit of the Americas, where they finally get to race how they're going to be setting up as drivers qualifying has officially come to a close. It's time to look at our starting grid for tonight's race, and I throw it over to you, Zach.
Yep, starting on pole, it's going to be Robert Rader in that 53 machine. Great lap for him there. Second's going to be our defending race winner here at Cota, Trevor Earhart. Third's going to go to Jason Fensler in the 5 machine, our points leader, and man who's been very dominant this season and defending series champion. Fourth's going to be Brad Ringer. Fifth's going to go to James Levin in that 56 machine. Sixth's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. with a good qualifying lap in that 27 machine. Seventh's going to go to Matt Job. Eighth place going to go to Ray Lane in the 55. Ninth's going to be Justice Murphy. Rounding out your top 10, it's going to be Christopher Heights in that 21 machine. 11th's going to go to Nick Alves in the 24. 12th's going to be Grant Thrope, our winner from Nashville. 13th's going to be Parker Johnston. 14th's going to be Peyton Presley. 15th's going to be Dylan Walterman in the Freaky Fast machine. 16th's going to be Sean Huffstubler. 17th's going to go to David Boyle. 18th's going to go to Cody Dorsey. 19th, Scott Kerberg. 20th going to go to Dane Moyer. 21st, John Magner. 22nd, Jacob Sekerovich. And 23rd is Justice Thunder as they roll off the back straightaway here to get the race started here tonight. That's your starting grid. And what a grid we have, Sam.
Yeah, we've got ourselves 23 drivers that are going to be trying to set up and have a great race for themselves. 22. But looking like this field, you got a lot of different varieties of skill levels, really. The front runners, they're going to be battling hard, trying to win this race. And you got drivers further back that are just thinking, let's survive the night. Let's not get too many incident points and let's just stay consistent. But man, a lot of these drivers, I bet they're excited for this one. But we saw back in the trucks race, It was turn one where we saw our first incident. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw another turn one incident of drivers getting too aggressive, trying to go 3. Almost some might be thinking about 4 wide to try to make a pass. And it's a question of who's going to slip and slide, getting out of the exit of that corner. But really looking at this field, Zach, it is going to be a fun one. Stage breaks are here tonight at lap 10. There is going to be stage 1, and we race it to the end, where we aren't really expecting fuel to be a big factor here tonight.
No, fuel shouldn't be too much of an issue, Sam, as we head off into the penultimate corner here tonight at the Underdog Racing League. As they're going to bring the green. Raider out front, Earhart out beside him. Let's see who can get it done.
Pace car pulling off. Drivers, anticipation. You wait to see what Raider and Earhart going to give. That inside line, they got around that corner quick. Waiting for the green flag to be given for themselves to take off. So stack up, all ready to go green. As we are green flag in the air, racing here at the Circuit of the Americas, heading up the hill to turn 1.
Nice even start as they head into 1, though. Raider going to use that bottom line to proficient level. Get away from the top 3 there as Finsler goes around the outside of Earhart, taking second place down to the S's.
Big plus to everyone in the field surviving turn 1, and into the S's they go. As you're going to see them bobbing and weaving, trying to keep the momentum through this section of the course. It's one of the more technical parts of Cota, where you have to make sure that you hit perfect in the first corner, because any little slight mishap could be throwing you off course and losing positions. But up front, it's all Raider, Finsler, Earhart. It's the rest of the field trying to get in line. Is Finsler in out of shape.
Yeah, early in this lap, tires going to be cold, a little bit slick still here for Finsler as he goes through that high-speed little kink there, that left-hander downhill. Very slick part of the track there for these guys. He's going to hold on to it there, but the gap is opening up for Raider. That's what he likes to see in his mirrors. He's going to hope that Earhart and Finsler hopefully do battle.
Battle is now they're all going to be in line. The backstretch, one of the longest parts of this course, able to try to utilize the draft and head into the heartbreaking zone of turn 12, where drivers have to focus. And this is another aspect of this course where you can try to make some very aggressive and bold passes, but also it can hurt you very badly if you make a mistake locking up your brakes. That's what we go through what's called sector 3 of this course, bobbing and weaving all the way until we get to the end of the start-finish line.
Oh, man, I tell you what, a lot of guys missing their marks here. Even our leader sliding off the racetrack at one point. He gets it all gathered back up and holds on to that lead. But a few guys definitely locking the left front and right front tires through that windy section right there. Very easy to do when you're trying to get this stock car slowed down. One of the keys, though, is, man, I'm watching our leader. He is sliding out here, really just abusing the tires possibly here. They're going. But remember, only got to do 10 laps here for stage 1. It's looking like maybe a few guys electing like Earhart there to save some tire. I haven't seen him sliding around much. Maybe looking for a long run here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second road course of the season. That Daytona road course, we can get a little bit more of a feel of how the drivers were going to try to save their tires. But, I mean, it was one of those things where drivers were being aggressive for themselves as further back, sideways, losing a ton of positions, losing 7 positions. Dylan Walterman on the final corner, spinning around, losing spots for the 99, but up front, riding on board with our leader through the S's and showing how pinpoint you have to be to get through the S's. It is such a technical and difficult spot, especially when you're trying to warm up these tires. You'd think by now they're a little bit warm and good enough to ride, but still very slick and slippery as well, because you got the heavy pressure from the 5 of Jason Finsler.
Oh, man, these guys are definitely tiptoeing through that section, trying to get as fast through there as possible without sliding the tires. And they're definitely sliding them. You know, you can't get too caught up in trying to hold Finsler off too much here and be locking up the tires like that. You know, Raiders been smoking that right front tire with locking up. And, another car back there, I believe from 4th. That might have been Brad Ringer. Looks like he's getting the pass done by James Loveland there with a nice move as Ringer went wide there in the hairpin.
Yeah, Brad Ringer excited to race here tonight. Going to be running in 5th place currently after losing that spot to that of James Loveland. But we're going to be diving it low. The 76, Ringer still showing, hey, I can outbrake you. But the real question is where's Kevin Orlando Jr. going to go. The 27. This 3-horse little battle to see who's going to be in 4th place. It still fires on and bumping and grooving, and they're still trying to make all the moves they can.
Oh, man, that's some classic Cota action there. And, that's something you're going to see a lot of, I think, here tonight. People making passes back down into that hard braking zone there on that back straightaway. That corner right there, you can brake a lot earlier than you think you need to, and it's kind of deceiving almost. And you can also outbrake yourself there too, so you got to watch out. But I think a lot of passes are going to be made heading into that corner. Ooh, Ringer sliding it through the penultimate corner there, that 76 in the rears.
Certainly. It's trying to send it as hard as they can. As you see, the moves being made, got to be trying to give a little bit of a bump as Kevin Orlando Jr. able to make the pass, getting by that to James Loveland. Further back, do you want to give an update for some of the drivers further back that have been struggling? As you see Sean Hutstetler able to make the pass by the 11. Peyton Presley seems to be having some issues, as well as the 3. A lot of these drivers further back have been overshooting some of these last 4 corners of this course. Got to be careful of those tires with how much they're going off course to try to keep their speed and also just trying to keep the car underneath them.
Very tough track to do that, Sam, and you'll see the guys definitely fight a very tough circuit here tonight. And oh man, the 3 just wheel spinning it like crazy. Look at back here, Walterman. He started in the 15th position. He dropped all the way back to 19th here on the start and is a pretty good ways back here, 31 seconds back. Now trying to run down Cody Dorsey here in the 84, who just had a big moment coming out of the last corner. But as he slides through the S's now too. These guys are out here using up the grip they got tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a recognized moment of, hey, we've got the comp caution. It's going to be on lap 10. Let's abuse these tires, get a little sense of what the tire wear is going to be like. And then, on that final stint of this race, which we're expecting to still, drivers probably won't be able or won't be thinking about pitting for fuel. It's got to be the thought of, how do we really challenge ourselves to save tires on that second stint so we can have the best run. But you need that information first from the first stint of how much tire wear am I using if I'm just brutalizing them from the start.
Tire wear can be a cruel thing here at a road course and just can pile on top of itself as you go on. So you got to watch out and stay calm and not get too overzealous and, try to push too hard. That's what a lot of people probably struggle with the most at road courses, just trying to push over their skill level. And that's where you get in trouble. You got to slowly build your way up here at these road courses. And you're seeing these guys attack it as hard as they can. They're going to make a few mistakes for sure. But up front, those 3 still battling up there. Raider not really getting away from Finsler. Finsler not getting away from Earhart. But I tell you what, the top 2, they've been slipping and sliding back and forth where Trevor Earhart, got to give him credit. I mean, he's been solid as a rock. I haven't seen that 25 much out of shape. I would think here as this run goes on, that 25 is going to be the one to watch for.
Yeah, I mean, looking at drivers' best times, fastest lap could be going to that of Trevor Earhart, but that 25, the way that he won back in the trucks was being the most consistent. He didn't have the fastest lap back then when he won, but he was just staying consistent, running every single lap that he needed to run, almost picture perfectly, and that's what helped them beat that of Jason Finsler by over 6 seconds. So drivers certainly got to be careful as a little bit of a hop and a skip further on back to the battle for 6th place. Drivers got to be careful of some of those turtles as we continue to watch the battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, it's going on all over the place. I'm having a moment there as Raiders, he's leaving tire marks all over the track, just drifting through the corners. I don't know if he'll have any rear tires like that for this. There's guys hitting turtles. There's mayhem out here. He's locking the left front now as our leader goes through the hairpin. This track, man, is just so technical, and I think that's why it suits these cars so well. I'd say actually doesn't suit these cars, and that's why it puts them good racing. It puts drivers outside their comfort zone, and these drivers are definitely trying, you're tiptoeing tonight. You're trying to go as fast as possible without wrecking, and that's the beauty of this racing here is, got a battle for 4th there. As here comes Ringer, gets to the inside of Orlando Jr., down in that hard braking zone.
That just seems to be Ringer's favorite spot. Heavy braking, but he overdid it possibly that time. Side by side, little deja vu. But this time, it's going to be the 27 on the outside, powering his way. Kevin Orlando Jr. No, he spins around, contact going to be made. But it's Orlando Jr. getting the worst of it into the inside wall. And little bit of a tap there, but most of that damage on the rear end of the 27.
Oh, man, that could have been bad for Ringers. It could have turned him head first into the wall. He's going to have to get back settled in, though, as it dropped him back a few positions. At least didn't harm the car there, as he's going to be in ninth now. That was wild moments. You know, going side by side through Sector 3 there, one of the toughest parts of the track, because the cars right there, that is really probably the most toughest part for these cars, just because how tight and twisty it is. It's really hard to go side by side with a stock car through there.
Yeah, and you know, that part, you are trying to put as much throttle input into each corner, and when you're on the outside, you're just pushing that limit just a little bit too far. As seeing the drivers, that of Lane, just right now, feels comfortable. I mean, what a charge for this 55 team that's kind of gone with the, I'll let you make the mistakes, I'll just run my own race. Going to be up 3 positions is Ray Lane, and 55 doing exactly what is needed for himself. And looking at the pace that he's putting down, running a little bit faster than that of James Loveland last time by, but that was with Loveland trying to avoid some of the carnage in front of him during that Sector 3.
Yeah, Loveland probably had a moment there where he was like, I don't know if I want to touch the gas with these guys wrecking in front of me. So might have slowed him up a little bit, but Ray Lane, again, like you said there, just being really consistent here, picking up from where the mistakes are on the track from the guys ahead of him. And that's what exactly I pointed out, you know, early in the race. That's what he needs to do. He needs to come out with a clean, consistent race and just, you know, take what he can. He doesn't have the speed here tonight to compete for a win, but he does have the speed and the consistency to compete for a solid top 5 finish. And that's all you can ask for when, you know, road courses aren't your, you know, forte.
Yeah, and then you fall back 2 positions as we're looking at the times that are being placed right now between our leader and Lane. They're almost about a second or more. I mean, it's one of those things where that first lap, blistering times from our leader, but we touched on it. A lot of slipping and sliding using that grip up, which might get some of the fastest laps of the day by being super aggressive, but it's the consistency over a long run that actually can show a driver actually running faster because he's being more consistent than trying to just go for that qualifying lap after lap.
Yeah, I mean, we look back up here and through this section right here, I'm telling you, these guys are just sliding so much in the rear end through these corners. It's kind of amazing that they still have grip left for our top 2, because like I said, they have just been completely sideways out of almost every corner exit, every high-speed corner. The cars are yawed out, leaving almost, you know, rubber tracks where they've been. So very impressive to see the pace kept up between Rader, Finsler, and Earhart out here with the pace they're setting down and how fast, hard they're pushing these cars at this tough racetrack.
Yeah, and getting a sense of how these drivers are running as they were seeing the times of Rader as well as Trevor Earhart, who runs in 3rd of this group. And you got to see that Earhart was running the fastest during that second lap, which that's when we saw Earhart put down the fastest lap of the day. But right now, it's a question of will they even be able to make the pass with how much they're slipping and sliding. I would say all these drivers are kind of on equal footing on where they're at tire-wise, but closing in is our top 3.
I mean, even you got our producer question here, how the 53 is holding on to, because I'm telling you, Rader has just been sliding through every corner. I just don't see a way of this lasting for too much longer for him. It's just those tires are going to build up too much heat. He's going to start to wheel hop, do things that the car really doesn't want to do. But, you know, I talked about the grip levels being increased with this new tire and suspension changes we got. He's using every bit of grip he's got out there. He's not trying to waste none of that grip they gave him today.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about it for too long. We've still got 5 laps coming to 4 laps to go once we get to the start-finish line. So the drivers are recognizing, hey, these laps could take away pretty quick, but, hey, we're only 6 laps into this thing of 25. Still got a long ways to go, but why not just throw it all out there?
Yeah, you're very right about that, Sam. You know, these are long laps, so it is going to still be a good while, but, you know, not too long till that stage. So if you're going to learn something, this is the stage to learn it, because you know you're going to get a caution. So get out here, push as hard as you can, know if you need to save anything for that final run of the race. But this section right here is my favorite part. Look at this. This is just on the edge, counter steering, putting that left rear out on the edge and just holding on as he goes through the corner. Side by side behind there, Earhart's making the move on Finsler around the outside. I don't know if he'll be able to make that stick, but he's going to try to get it done. I think he will, as yes, up to second is Trevor Earhart. What a move from that guy.
Oh, you could tell Finsler was thinking about giving him a bump, thought otherwise of it, just going to let the 25 go, and already taking off. But, you know, a little factor that we were talking about was fuel before we went live. We didn't think that it was going to be too much of a factor, but because of the way that, you know, these pace laps are going to go, once the yellow flies for stage 1 to be over, by the time that these drivers get to pit road, they might be on the brink of fuel. So they might have to think about fuel saving a little bit, and that might be in the eyes of Finsler and why he just gave up that position and decided just to fall back just a little bit as we're watching the drivers in the middle of the pack. Hard racing going on as we're on board with Matt Joe.
Yeah, these guys back here fighting really hard here as they go through the S's. You see the 89 Joe here doing a good job. Not, you know, these guys are being very smooth, but they're doing a great job of balance here, keeping their pace. And having a fun little race here by themselves out here on the racetrack with in this stage. But such a tough racetrack for these. Ooh, Loveland, some issues for him, huh?
James Loveland slipping and sliding, finding himself. Might have gotten a little bit of a tap, hard to tell, but the 56 off course, losing over 3 positions, now back to 10th place, and has lost ground of that whole entire pack that we were just watching. So we fall back to watch the 24 and 12th. Nick Alves, one of the drivers that somehow during the trucks race did not get any incident points, stayed on track at all times, wasn't hit by anybody. Somehow the 24 did it during the truck season, but I would say probably here in the Xfinity it's a little bit more difficult, but certainly going to be trying to go back to back with 0 incident points is the 24.
Hey, if he can do that, that's going to be a feat in itself for sure. So, congrats to him doing that once. But like you said here in Xfinity car, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. If anybody does it, it's going to be fun thing to watch here. Is, man, the lines, the difference in lines is really what I'm enjoying here. I'm watching guys do different things at different parts of the track, especially Sector 3. Sector 3 has a lot of options for entry and exit of these corners. And really, that's where these drivers are probably making up the most time and be able to make passes here also.
Trying everything that they can, and right now looking at the whole entire field where they lie, closest battle is for the lead, and right now it's Trevor Earhart keeping it close and just getting closer and closer as we're seeing the 48 of Parker Johnston, and right now Johnston 13th place, kind of in no man's land, doesn't really have anyone behind him or in front of him. He really has to do just run his own race as we are now 3 laps to go here in stage number 1. That lap 10 that these drivers are stretching to get to. And once the yellow flies, stage 1 will come to a close.
Yeah, this is fun to watch the battle for the lead. Just 2 different approaches. You know, Earhart's really taking the more conservative approach and not sliding the car around, where Rader's just throwing the nose around, sliding the rear, you know, just leaving just complete rubber tracks all around this track, where Earhart's really being really smooth. We'll see what happens here, but you know, Earhart's quicker, I think, but Rader is just so quick through some sections that it's going to be tough for Earhart to get by as they go down here to one of the most important parts of the racetrack, this long straightaway. Who can put the power down better? It looks like Rader does it once again. He's going to pull a little bit of a gap.
And as our leaders continue to battle along, Ray Lane, who was running in 6th place, found himself getting slipped around in the middle of the S's and has dropped now back to 10th place. As we continue to watch the battle for the lead, Trevor Earhart, I mean, he's kind of going with similar strategies that he did last time when he won here at Cota. Just be patient. He doesn't need to win this race on lap 1. It's how he can get ahead in those final just couple of laps when he's right on the back bumper and he feels like he is conserved, saved, and is being patient while everyone else around him is slipping and sliding and using up all their rubber as we're coming up to 2 laps to go in stage number 1. We're looking forward lap. We are coming to 15 to go. That's when we're expecting to see our stage break come out for these drivers. Jason Finsler finished 2nd in the trucks race. He is certainly still slipping and sliding, rubbing on those, and utilizing practically every single rumble strip possible to try to get some grip as he just watches the front 2 ahead of him kind of just slip away from his grasp.
And man, Earhart is all over this guy and just really pressuring Rader right now. The big thing is They got a huge line difference down there in the final sector there. That triple right-hander. Here's we go down to 1. See if he makes a move. He makes a diving lunge to the outside, trying to, just fake out that 53. So here comes Finsler with the head of steam. He's going to miss the whole entire corner almost, as he actually does a good job to still get out of that corner with decent speed with how far he went down into turn 1. This battle, though, continuing on with 2 laps to go on the stage. Earhart's going to have to do something pretty critical here as we go through the S's. He hits this turtle. That's not good for the 25.
Yeah, touching on the fact that if you mess up on that first corner, it can really slide and mess up your whole entire sector. But you see Raider just getting at a sword, slipping and sliding, and those little mistakes are giving that of Trevor Earhart still close enough, but he's just Tokyo drifting it around every single corner, as there goes Radar trying to make sure he is the one who wins this stage.
I'm telling you, Sam, this guy's been doing this for 9 straight laps. I've been watching him almost the whole entire time. I don't know how the rear tires are still there. He's somehow made them last. But I tell you what, Trevor Earhart here is the closest he's been down the back straightaway here, getting a good little toe. Now going to head down to the hardest braking zone on this track. He might be able to outbrake him here.
He really wants to send it. He's trying to prepare himself, ducking it to the inside of the 25, but does not feel like he's close enough this time by. Gonna back out of the shot to go for that position, but trying to set up the exit just does not carry the momentum. Somehow Raiders able to continue to just pull away.
Yeah, Raider is just fast in the right spots of the track, but here, down here into sector 3, this triple right-hander, watch the difference here. They head into this left-hander. Going to be a good run for Earhart. This is going to be set him up here very nicely. Raiders going to have to take away his line. He's been running this outside line where Earhart's been on the bottom. Here he comes to the inside.
Here comes Earhart, going to be on the inside, almost at the quarter panel. But watch Radar, he's drifted, he's slided, and he just cuts right in for the 25, not giving any space. But he continued to battle around, he slided again, and still, somehow, Raiders not throwing it this race out the window. He is still holding on in the lead.
I don't understand this, guys. He's so drifted. I'm really the teriyaki boys out here. They start playing some music because this man is just putting on a montage of drifts out here as we head down the 1.
I mean, it's not just a basic drift of like, oh, he's losing. These have been defensive type of moves, and they both get loose there, side by side, as they go down to the S's. But it's going to be Trevor Earhart finally succeeding after the mistake by that of Robert Raider, and Raider put on a fabulous show. But for the 53, at this point, just survive as he's bouncing over almost every turtle, throwing away possibly second place, as Finsler is coming around and trying to make the pass for second.
Yeah, this is what I expected, the 53's tires to be dead, and it looks like he's, I don't know how he's holding on to it. That is one heck of a performance from Raider to even have any tire left here to battle the hold on the second here as they head down now to the tight left-hander before the back straightaway. Earhart opened up the gap. We'll see if Raider can gain it back. He really locks up there to left front, though, man. Those tires are shot.
Throw him away. This is the last lap. Why not go for it for stage number 1? He's already been drifting and burning up those tires. Why not just lock him up a couple of more times? He knows he's going to get another set here in just a couple of laps. But it's all about who crosses the line first, and it's going to be a dive bomb possibly here. Raiders right on the back bumper. Wasn't close enough, but he's got to be patient as Earhart. He still has to get through this last sector, of that being about 6 more corners to go. It is still a lot of pressure the 53 can put on the 25 as they're going through each and every corner, inching closer and closer, and Raiders still locking up the brakes and right there on the inside.
I don't know how that's possible, but that is blowing here. We're having a good time with the movie because this is wild action here. So we're going to be coming through the triple right-hander here. Oh, man. They're going to be coming down to the final 2 quarters. Raiders still slide this thing. He's going to take one more final attempt, and he's going to wreck it.
Oh, no! Into the gravel. Keep it off the wall. Raider tried his best. He's putting on a show. 3rd place, though, going to be for the 53. But, man, he was having fun. At stage 1, going to go to Trevor Earhart, who went with the patient route. But certainly spectacular by the 53 as he was putting on a show for us. Now the question is, will he do the same thing for that of the second and final stage of the race.
My jaw is on the floor. I, I just, Raider that was outstanding driving by him out somehow to keep the tires underneath him. Like we seen two different approaches there. Earhart was not very methodical and took his time that run, where Raider, he was just full sending the whole time, and we still had great racing between them two coming down to the end. Man, it's just really they're quicker than each other in different parts of the track, and that's where you get these interesting battles like this, where you can see Earhart get way out there, but Raider's very, very good in certain parts right there in Sector 3 that allows him to get right back to that back bumper and give us a little bit of a heart attack there in Stage 1.
Well, and also got to be thinking for that of Robert Raider of the fact of how fast would this 53 be if he was not trying to drift it every single corner, because he was still keeping up with Trevor Earhart that was trying to stay smooth and consistent each and every lap, but it was the wild card sliding around 53 that was keeping up each and every lap. It's going to continue to be a duel as the drivers are trying to get up to the pace car. I mean, Zach, we're both kind of lost with words on this one.
Yeah, lost with words for sure here, Sam. And that's a good point you brought up there about, if he was actually able to not slide around, how quick would he be actually on the long run? Because he's keeping up with, Finzer was also sliding around a good bit too, so I got to credit him. He was kind of his, tier B when it came to Tokyo Drift when Raider was up here doing some A-class style drifting. It was just really, weird to watch the different styles there, go back and forth between the battles. I just cannot wait for this final stage, because it's going to be more of the same, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. As drivers are still trying to catch up to the pace car. It's going to be a while before we get to drivers coming into pit road. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, pit stops should be underway. And someone's got to let Radar know that we are racing here at Cota. This is not a drifting event, but thank you for the show, as we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, pit stops going to be underway.
want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Underdog Racing League Xfinity Series at Cota, otherwise known as the Circuit of Americas. We got to see a little bit of Tokyo drifting going on from the 53. The 53 was just burning it down, but it was Trevor Earhart winning stage number 1 as drivers are lined up. They caught up to the pace car, and next thing on their list of things to do here under pacing is coming to pit road, get some service done as they are going in now. Zach, pit road, this could be important on making sure that you can possibly gain some positions or you can lose some.
Yeah, this is going to be critical here. You know, Earhart was the driver that seemed to save tire, really kind of lay back there and just followed the front two there for a while. We'll see what he does here, see if he can win the race off pit road. But, you know, when you're the leader, you can kind of get pushed into almost pushing too hard and burning up your stuff. We'll see if he still paces himself and see if Raider could get back out front and do it Tokyo Drift style.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to give note was the fact that Trevor Earhart is the driver that has the fastest lap so far this race with a 2-minute, 18-second, .928 lap time. So this 25 team going to be coming out up pit road first with that of Jason Finsler and that of Raider going to be in third. But man, all the drivers now, they need to race up, catch up to the pace car, and I believe they might have another pace lap to do. We'll take a look to see if the lights are still on for the pace car, and they are still on. So we got a bit of time here, Zach, to really talk about the madness that we saw and the madness we're probably expecting to see next.
You know, our producer just threw me off. He's throwing out candy thoughts. So tell it, you know, out there in chat, if you're out there sitting there hanging out, tell us what your favorite candy is. That's a cool subject there for you. But get some chat interaction going on, you know, here Freaky Fast. But, you know, as we talk about some candy later, the race right now has been pretty tasty, I must say, also, and pretty sweet, if I must say. So this right here is going to come down now to really which driver picks how they want to run this. You know, after watching that first stage, you know, I watched Earhart there the first 3 or 4 laps, and I was like, there is no way this guy doesn't win the end of the stage. I mean, he ends up winning the stage, but I'm telling you, I did not expect him to get the lead with 1 to go into 1. I feel like he was going to have the lead within 6 laps with the way the guys in front of him were sliding around. It's kind of mind-blowing, but we're going to have a similar amount of laps here. The other thing, though, is when they came out of pit road here, we had 13 to go. 65% fuel load. I'm thinking these guys can make around 13 laps. These caution laps will help, as we're going to have another caution lap after this. So they should be good on fuel, but they are starting to get into the area where they might have to think about it a little bit.
If somehow, very, very unlikely, but somehow we can get a full course yellow with, 3 laps to go or 4 laps to go, then maybe we'll go into overtime. But that is very highly doubtful we're going to get to that, let alone the only caution that I think we've seen at Cota for the Underdog Racing League has been only stage break cautions. So we're expecting this race to go green to the end, but it's the question of, is fuel going to be enough? As the drivers getting set, lights are still on. We're going to be going after once we're hoping we get lined up after the next time, so you get to see what the manufacturers are and who's been doing well, who's been fading back. And gotta say, Zach, that is a good mixture of where drivers are at, with Ford up front with Trevor Earhart.
It really is actually a good mixture there. You got a lot of Chevrolet guys there mixed in with Murphy being the top Chevy guy. He's going to try to break through maybe there and get up into it. But Finzer being their top Toyota also. So a good mix of the manufacturers. Love to see that here on iRacing.com as they bring us all the cars. They're not just one car. A lot of times we do see, in my opinion, a majority of one manufacturer. But here at the Underdog Racing League, you do have a variety, and that's something I like to see. It gives it almost more of the the immersion feel of watching a real race like you would watch on TV or at the racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. It's a blast to see, and also gives the drivers, manufacturers that they love and have been rooting for through the whole entire racing career. And for those that have just gotten into a racing career, they get to choose what they love and adore to have. So we're on board with the 5 of Jason Finsler. Finsler comes into this race, points leader, and really no surprise on the fact that this 5 has been so dominant based on what we saw in the trucks.
Yeah, he's been very, very dominant this season. He's been, like this last few weeks, he's been good. He's been very, very good. He's been, competing for race wins. But I tell you, a guy like Robert Rader, we've seen what he's done so far in this race, getting pole and leading the majority of those laps there in the first 9 really of this race. He won the last 2 races he's entered. So he's in a good position to maybe steal some of that thunder away from the 5 as we head down to the playoffs later this year. These Xfinity series, it's definitely tightened up the gap in my opinion, and it's going to be fun to watch as Finsler's still doing Finsler things. But I tell you what, the rest of the field is picking up their game as the season heads on. And guess what? The lights on the pace car, they look to be off as they double file into one.
They are off. We're ready to go in just about 3.5 minutes. we still got a long pacing to go for ourselves. So the drivers still got quite a bit of time. So we're just
a little bit longer of a run here, so it should come into his hands even more. And especially now that he has the lead, he could have possibly been on pole. We've seen that lap he produced is his 2nd lap, so we know he has pace, and we know he put down the fastest lap of the race also. So if he can get out front, get a little of a gap here, do the same type of style of driving he was doing, he could be driving off into the sunset here in this final stage. We'll have to see, as that first stage was action-packed, action throughout really the whole field. And shout out to Justice Murphy, just looking at it too, and Grant Thrope. 9th to 4th for Justice Murphy, 12th to 6th for Grant Thrope. Those are great climbs to the field for those drivers.
Yeah, Thrope's been one of the more consistent drivers of just gaining positions, going each spot up 6 positions from where he started. And you know what? He's going to have to continue that. Try to stay consistent and hope for other drivers to make mistakes as you're moving forward. As they're now hitting the back stretch. We're now halfway through our pacing for this lap. I do want to give a note on what's coming up next here for the Underdog Racing League Xfinity Series. We've got 6 more races before playoffs. We've got Bristol, Talladega, Dover, Chicagoland, Pocono, and finishing it all out at Iowa before the playoffs get around to us. So there's still a lot of time for drivers to, make up ground, but you're running out of time if you're trying to get in with a win.
Oh, you definitely are running out of time, my friend. We got a lot to go still, but we're past halfway in that regular season. So now it's time to get the best positions you possibly can and get yourself into victory lane so you don't have to worry about it. So we'll have to see which drivers produce the best for playoffs when that comes around, as Jason Feather's is going to be looking to defend his championship. But that's always going to be fun to watch, as these guys have put on one heck of a show here in this Xfinity Series so far this season. But one thing I want to bring up, we were talking about the F1 cars here. This is an F1 track, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight here, looking at it, the pole lap here was a 2-minute, 18-second lap, whereas a Formula 1 car, the lap record here is set by Valtteri Bottas 2019, at a 32 flat. So you're looking at a giant lap difference there. That's the mind-blowing thing when you look at this, at how fast some cars can go around a circuit like this. And just the difference of style of racing that we see at this style of circuit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of these drivers recognizing, hey, you got to be patient coming around here because you don't got the same aero package as an F1 car would usually have. But big thanks to everyone that's joined in the chat. Again, big question: what's your favorite candy? What would be your favorite snack watching this? As our producer, his favorite M&Ms. For me, I'm a more of a sour person. I like Sour Patch Kids. That's my go-to.
Oh man,
that is my go-to candy for sure.
I'm a Starburst person, so I like that too. Yep. I like fruit candy, you know. It's
Well,
good stuff.
Grab your snacks, get ready for a show. We gotta see an amazing one during stage 1, and it's only gonna get better. It's time to see who's gonna be winning here at Cota. Green flag in the air as they take off. It's Earhart, Finsler, as they rocket up the hill into turn number 1.
Wow, they even separated into a little 3-car pack. Here comes Raider deep into the braking zone. He's looking to make it happen, but look at this. Earhart missing the corner. Finsler takes the lead. What a move from third.
From second back to third, up to first. Jason Finsler now going to be hooking himself up front, down through the hill, through the S's. You've got also Brad Ringer, who was caught up in a mess earlier on. The 76, he's now on the tail end in 4th place, following our front 3 that dominated the first stage. Now it's Finsler trying to get up front, pull away from the rest of the field. But the big question is, how are they going to conserve their tires? You know exactly what Trevor Earhart's going to do. He's going to do exactly what he did during stage 1. Stay patient, concerned, as bumping off and going off the turtle. Raider, watch out as he falls back from the bumper cam all the way back to over half a second back.
Oh, and he closes it quickly here. So we got this kind of good little shot. Oh, man, this is wild action here as he gets a great shot. As Raider just eats the curbs here with that 53 and closes in the gap. But Finsler trying to do his best job here and run away. Man, what an opening lap here. And I tell you what, turn 1, what a design there, because that corner is magnificent for race starts.
Yeah, I mean, it went from being about 6/10 back to right on the back bumper. Watch out for some of the guys further back as contact going to be made. Luckily holding on, moving forward, going to be Kevin Orlando Jr., but he got a tad bit of a scare when he had the 77 of Thorpe right on his back bumper. So everyone's trying to make as many positions as possible. This is the closest you're going to be. We saw everyone get spread out. There were only about 2 or 3 battles still going on when we got to the end of stage 1. Everyone else was anywhere from a second to 6 seconds difference for one another. So you got to gain everything you can as we're watching everyone go through. But this triple right-hander, Zach, this is when drivers have been really slided. I just saw our whole entire front 3 all drift in unison. I don't know if anyone's protecting their tires at this point. It's about putting on a show for the fans.
Yeah, I think they've all thrown tires saving out the window here, saying with 10 to go. Finsler, just what a move, like you said, from second to third back to first. I mean, he could have thought he got swamped, and he makes a mistake down to 1. Here comes Earhart. They're side by side for the lead again.
Going to be trying to make the move on the outside, but it's going to be Finsler who's going to have the advantage going into the first corner of the S's. This is going to be where if you make any mistake, we've seen drivers hit the turtles because they messed up just one corner on where the apex was. You get to see the aerial view of our front 4 all in line trying to cut their way through this course. And really, Brad Ringer, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the 76. Just be patient. Let the front 3 drivers be aggressive, burn up those tires, and then capitalize on their mistakes as drivers further back look like Dana Moyer going to be one of the drivers having some issues for that 28 team losing ground. But our front 4 into the heavy braking zone at the backstretch.
Man, what a race this has been. Do not miss out. Don't walk away from your screen, because this is not over, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be one heck of a finish down to the very end. Earhart trying to get back to Finsler in that 5 machine. Raider trying not to let him run away. This time, Brad Ringer, he says, I've entered the group. You thought it was a 3-man show. It's trying to be a 4-man show right now up front.
Well, you got to remember, Brad Ringer was one of the drivers up in our top 5 challenging with the front runners at one moment, but then he got caught up with an incident between himself, Kevin Orlando Jr., and James Loughlin, where they made a bunch of contact with one another, able to rebound. Now you've got Ringer. He was real. I feel like Ringer was one of the most excited drivers coming into this race, just based off the Discord messages that all the drivers putting in their general chat. Ringer seemed like he was amped up for this one, and right now he is in a great spot, just staying back. And yes, he's 2 seconds back on the timer, but the 2 seconds at a road course can disappear very quickly by just one simple mistake.
Oh, it's one corner, one slip, one slide. You are going to lose a good bit of time. That's the beauty of road course racing. You got to be on your P's and Q's at all times. A little bit of a different line there from Finsler, opening up the inside. Almost Earhart trying to dive it down the inside here as they go by for 9 to go. Our front 4 still all in line. Now James Loveland trying to put a move on Justice Murphy maybe back there. He's going to think best of that as he backs out of it with Kevin Orlando Jr. there also in the 7th position as we got battles all over this racetrack. What a magnificent one it is, I must say.
It's a great problem to have when you don't know. Should we stay with our front 4? Should we look at the battle that's going on for 5th? Should we see what the heck's going on in 16th place? I mean, there are different battles all over the place, but it has been a fabulous one here tonight as we're watching the drivers, that being Peyton Presley in the 11. He actually got himself blocked and spun around, locking up his brakes for the 11, trying to get by Dylan Wallstrom about a half a lap ago, and there goes the driver further back, as that's going to be, believe, the 48 and the 84, making a little bit of a slide for the both of them, getting straight. We're all the way back in 20th and 21st position for Johnston and Dorsey.
Yeah, what a battle these guys are having back here. You think they were battling for the lead, how hard they're racing. This is great stuff to see, though. Never giving up here in the last moments. Anybody makes a mistake, you can gain position, so stay out on that racetrack and gain those points, my friends. We'll see which driver can gain the most here through these final 9 laps, but it's going to be one heck of a battle as our front 4 continue to just run nose to tail.
Yeah, and our first driver that does not look like he is going to be finishing up this race the way that he wanted to. Dana Moyer going to be in pit road getting service done. Does not have a hood on the 28 machine getting service done, and has actually become our first DNF of the day as we're riding on board, getting to see an inside view of that of Brad Ringer in the 76 machine as he's trying to see what's going to be happening in front of him as he sees the battle for second pounding with one another.
Yeah, and Raider was able to get that position from Earhart there in Sector 3 where he's been very, very good all night. And what a pass it was by him there is Ringer going to try to take advantage of that, but just couldn't get to the inside here. As these 3 battle, though, Finzer is liking that in his mirror. It's giving him a little bit of breathing room, and that's one thing in a road course. You can be a lot more smooth when you don't have to look up in your mirror each time in the braking zones. And Raider, again, sliding the rear through that final corner.
Zach, we touched on the fact that it looked like we saw Fensler and Raider just burning up their tires, really not caring about them during stage 1. But they weren't even running as fast as we were seeing Trevor Earhart being willing to put down his lap times. Well, looking at the tracker right now, still the fastest car is Trevor Earhart, but by only just 4 thousandths of a second is that of Jason Finsler, who ran that a couple of laps ago. So right now our front 3, technically our front 4, all burning up tires, trying to run as fast as they can, which means in those final 3 laps, we're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding from our front 4. And don't look now, but Justice Murphy, Loveland, Kevin Orlando Jr., they're not too far back. They're still within 8 seconds of our leader.
Yeah, they're really not far back at all. We have a little bit of incident. They're right in the game here with one little slip up from anybody up here with 8 to go. And I tell you what, the track's cooling down too. We're seeing some shade through the S's. They got a little bit of sunlight here now down through this section, but the track has cooled down from 113 to 195 degrees. So this thing's picking up some grip here late in this race. Also putting the more rubber they put down, the more grip it's going to gain here on these exits. We'll see as these times pick up. What does the tire wear produce as Finzer opening that gap over a second? It's the biggest lead we've seen all day.
Yeah, and really it's all because of the battling for that second place position, as Raider has not been able to really capitalize on making the pass for second, kind of been patient. I think really for the 53 might be a cool down couple of laps that he has to put down for himself, as we're on board with the 9 of Justice Murphy. Murphy about a little bit less than 5.5 seconds back from our leader. And looking at the lap times, it's one of the fastest laps that last go around. We'll see this last time once they cross the line. But this 9 looking quick right now, and was the 3rd fastest car on course as Ringer goes off, and that's another pass for Murphy.
Yeah, Ringer making the simple little mistake out of the exit of that corner and losing the rear. Did a great job to hang on to that top 4, but now Murphy up to the top 4. What a ride for him, 9th to 4th. Justice Murphy again proving that this guy is very good in the Xfinity car, as he's really picked up his finishings from the last season in the truck.
And also you see behind him, James Loveland, the man that we're used to calling, a driver that can just save tires. Usually it's when we're at Homestead and we're always praising the 56. Road course racing, a little bit different from oval racing on saving tires, but still, you can never count out James Loveland. Loveland actually finished 3rd here at Cota in the Truck Series. Currently in 6th, has shown some speed here or there, but It seems more for Loveland, it's more of a pace overall, not really that qualifying time. As the drivers go down the S's, trying to keep themselves close with one another. But man, you can just tell the damage that's on the 56. He's trying to hold on for himself. And I don't think your camera caught it, but Kevin Orlando Jr. just went 2 wheels off the ground after hitting a turtle and still keeping it close to our top 6.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you get lucky, catch it just right. You go up with 2 wheels, and it just looks like a cool little trick, and it works out for you. Sometimes you hit it wrong though, and it sends you off into the tire barrier or the Armco wall. And I tell you what, Orlando Jr., they always love one up ahead, going to the inside of Ringer here. They head down to the back straightaway. This is going to be a good fight here. It looks like Ringer's going to get a good drive out of that straightaway there. Doesn't say he'll pull ahead, but does Loveland send it back down the inside because this is one of the best parts of the track to set up a pass.
Yeah, I mean, he's utilizing the toe that he's getting from the draft. Maybe trying to see if he's close enough to try to even send it. And right now, Loveland going to set back. Doesn't feel comfortable just yet this lap. But going to try to recover as, oh boy, the 76 gets loose. And Loveland right on the back bumper. Got to be careful as now in this Sector 3, drivers try not to make mistakes, and it's Ringer. It just seems like the pressure when those tires get old for the 76, it just seems to fall off like a rock, and he is certainly struggling with overcooking these corners.
Yeah, definitely hurting the tires there, also locking up. Not only that, but sliding the rears on the exit. We'll see Loveland putting more pressure on. He's going to lose a little time there, go wide. But look at Ringer dead sideways there as he tries to put the car down. Big run here for Loveland down into the next to the last corner. He's going to slide past to see if he can set up something here now down to the final. Oh,
and a beautiful pass for second. Yeah, as Earhart just muscling his way by that Raider. And Raider certainly, he did his best in that moment, tried to be defensive, but just too early of an apex, too fast was the 25 coming out of that last corner. And now all eyes on to see who's going to go after our leader, but too high. And now a little bit too loose. The battle for second still hot and heavy. The end of stage 1, it continues on as we are 6 laps to go here at Cota.
Now this is going to get tough. They're going to have to run Jason Finsler down. He's opened up enough of a gap as they battled. We'll see Earhart. Did he have enough tire this time? He's been sliding more this run. I could tell you that just from the look of that car. Definitely a lot more slippy slidey this time for the 25. Is his Achilles heel with Seaman Sam is 1. He seems like he misses 1 every few laps, and it gives up a little bit of time because, oh, every other section right there, big mistake. Here comes Raider. He's going to have a big run down to the hairpin.
Raider in 3rd position, going to dive it down low into turn number 11. Going to be getting in the right position, and it looks like just slowing down enough. I love that move by Raider, but just too powerful on the outside. What a power move by that of Trevor Earhart to muscle his way on the outside, making the move, and now making the charge on the backstretch. With that side-by-side racing through turn 11, now heading towards turn 12. A lot of time lost, almost over a second and a half, just in that little corner that we saw.
Yeah, Finsler has just cleaned everything up here in the stage, and oh man, almost to the back bumper is Raider. These guys continue the battle. If they don't get this settled out quick, he's going to have a 4-second lead here as they go into Sector 3. Finsler, man, he's got to be breathing a sigh of relief here, being able to not have to push the car, look in his mirror, just hit his marks here and make these guys run them down as they battle each other. You know, Earhart can't look forward. He's got to look out his mirror here as he's got the 53 all over the back bumper.
And don't look now, Justice Murphy, he's loving this battling because now it's allowed the battle for second to fall back to 4th. I mean, Justice Murphy, he's not running as fast as Finsler or others, but he's running just fast enough to keep himself in a boundary where if someone makes a mistake ahead of him, he can pounce on that.
No, you're exactly right. Justice Murphy is doing an excellent job in this final stage to put himself in position possibly for a podium. If he gets a podium, that'll be awesome to see because, you know, we see these front 3 kind of drive away to about a 10-second lead in that first stage. Now, only 5 seconds back is Justice Murphy. He's had a fantastic run here in this final stage.
That last time by, still the fastest car going to that of Jason Finsler, who's up front, continuing to pull away. 3.4 seconds, over 3.5 seconds now is the difference between 1st and 2nd. But you look at the rest of the field, who is the next fastest car? That is Justice Murphy in 4th, who's running just 0.5 off of our leader, but running almost a full second faster than 2nd and almost a full 1.5 seconds faster than 3rd because of that hard racing. but the shadows grow even more. It's looming over. You gotta sense something's gonna break from second on back. Someone's gonna make a mistake with the amount of grip that they're building up now with the track cooling off.
And I tell you what, the big mistake was Trevor Earhart hits the turtle, misses the S, has to give up the position to Raider there with the slowdown penalty. Now these guys upwards of 5 seconds back from Finsler. 5 to go. Finsler can just put this thing on cruise control and not make mistakes. He should be able to hold on to this victory. As Murphy, though, closed in on Earhart now with that mistake. He's definitely trying to get himself in position to get into a top 3.
Yeah, and then that last time by, just looked at the numbers. James Loveland, another driver that's been pretty quick in 5th. So honestly, our top 6, 2nd to 6th, all still within 4 seconds of one another. But you can just see that distance is gone. That battle for 3rd, it's heating up. Justice Murphy wants a podium finish here at Cota.
What a race we've had. 5 to go. We're going to be coming to 4 to go. When we cross the line, Finsler opened up over a 5-second gap back to Robert Raider. As this run, man, completely different here, except for other than, it's been pretty similar with these guys right here, but Finsler, really picked the pace, I think he's just kept his pace where Raider and Earhart, they've seemed to lose some pace where other guys have gained it.
Yeah, I mean, really looking at the 53 and the 25, if they just got in line and worked with one another, they could have caught up to Finsler easily. But because they wanted to keep on battling and make sure that they were the front car that was moving forward, it backfired. They went from a shot to win this race to now hoping that they stay in a podium position, because Justice Murphy, who has been being patient, he is on the back bumper, and now 4 laps to go. It's all about who can stay calm, patient, and hope they've got enough tires underneath them.
With 4 to go, Jason Finsler looking to get another workhorse win after winning at Daytona. What a job by him. Again, Trevor catching the sausage curve. Luckily keeps it inbounds this time. Does have to get a penalty, but just little mistakes here in this final stage has really broke it down for Trevor Earhart after winning stage 1, looking very smooth. He's just been a little bit sloppy this run. It's going to come back to bite him here in the end. Is 4 to go. He's got Murphy really to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, really looking at the way that this final stage started, I mean, it kind of reminds me of a long distance track run, with the Olympics or any other track. When you're doing extended lengths, you have a pace starter. You have a runner that starts with the field, gives you a pace on how the field's going to be running, and then they dip off, get out of the way. Well, it looked like for a front 3, it was the pace being set by Trevor Earhart as well as that of Raider that were just trying to keep up and run as hard as they can, which meant that they were using up their tires. For Earhart, he wasn't doing what he did the first go around for stage 1, which was stay patient, let the race come to him, let the other drivers ruin their race while he just goes out and does his job. And this second go around, it was all being scrappy in those first 3 laps, where you saw everyone burning up their tires, and mistakes have just mounted up onto one another, snowballing, you could say. And now 25, he's trying to get aggressive to finish in 2nd place, but man, this has got to be one that felt like got away for that of Raider and for Earhart, with how far they have let Finsler get away here.
Yeah, this has got to be a tough one for them, Sam. There, it's just one of those things where sometimes you just do a little bit of things wrong. Actually Earhart makes the pass on him, and Murphy also trying to make the pass on Raider here out of the final corner, but just a little bit of a mistake, in this final stage is going to come back to bite them there by pushing a little too hard, getting out of their focus. But man, got to fight for everything here in the final 3 lap stuff.
It's a 4-horse race for 2nd and 3rd, and somehow Murphy did not take out. Oh my goodness, he found a hole somehow. With that 9, almost wiped out the whole entire 4 cars that were battling for 2nd in just one fell swoop. Found just enough space, and Justice Murphy's got to figure out how to reset, go after Earhart, as well as worrying about the 53 Raiders right there. And James Loveland has put down the fastest lap that last time by of the drivers currently. I gotta say, that 56 is looking mad quick. 3 laps to go, still a lot of time in this race, and certainly Loveland if he finds the perfect moments, he could find himself back in the podium position.
Oh, yeah, they're side by side. Murphy now getting past. 53 Raider goes by. Here comes James Loveland.
Loveland going to be trying to duck it low, but Murphy's going to be the one who gets aggressive, locks up the brakes, and the Raider possibly there, but locks up again, opening up space. Here comes James Loveland to the inside for third.
What a wild finish here. Loveland doing his best to get around Murphy. Murphy going to duck back to the inside here in the braking zone. This is going to be interesting as they head down here.
How aggressive is Raider going to be? Because, you know, Murphy's going to be wiggling, locking up the brakes. He's going to get low. Is there going to be contact? There will be. This is going to be Raider, Murphy. Contact between themselves. Even more contact. Murphy getting moved, bullied. Here comes the 53. And there goes Justice Murphy. And Loveland making the pass. Same goes out of Brad Ringer from a battle for third to now a battle for fifth.
Wow. That was wild. I think Tippers flared there for the 53, baby, as he probably didn't like how the 9 had been, you know, a little bit overzealous in the braking zone, sliding in there past him, but man, what a wild race. Loveland says, thank you guys very much. I'm trying to get third here again, but Brad Ringer says, hey, I'm still right here, James Loveland. Don't be forgetting about me, my friend.
How much or if any damage did James Loveland grab, and is it going to be affecting the 56 at all? I mean, we know that Ringer's got a little bit of bumps and dings on that 76, but the U-Haul machine still chugging along, and the battle for the podium position still underway. I mean, I thought it was only for 4 cars. There were actually 5. As you throw out Ringer that you thought at one moment was out of a shot to get a podium position. Well, with the amount of hard racing that's going on, we still have Matt Job and Kevin Orlando Jr. They're still within, 2 seconds of that, of seeing a shot to possibly get into the top 5. So those drivers have their own type of race that's going on. But Zach, end of stage 1, dramatic, amazing, Tokyo Drift style. Got to see some drifting racing, but it's kind of a destruction derby for this second stage here to finish out the race.
Yeah, a little bit of an elbows out racing here in the final stage, and it's kind of what I expected. You get down in these late stages like this of this race, you got to kind of lean on each other here to make passes if you want to get by quickly, and a little bit of leaning on each other too much equals into a little bit of wrecking for 2 drivers. There's Raider and Murphy going to come to blows, but Loveland took advantage of it. He's up to third. Ringer, he's trying to take advantage of it also there as he's in fourth. Raider's still trying to hold on to that top 5 as Job's trying to close in on him. Finn's out front, though. He's right now in a Sunday cruise. He's got about a 6-second lead over Earhart, where it's been stabilized at that point since Earhart's really gotten the second. Finzer, though, that just amazing how different it was for him through stage 1 to stage 2. Just a completely different drive for him this one.
Well, I mean, he was following behind, Raider that whole entire first stage where he saw a driver drifting and kind of making the drivers around him force themselves into really precarious spots that could get them in danger and wore down the tires. Finsler in the first, right when we go green, lap corner number 1, makes the pass for the lead and never looked back. As Jason Finsler around the final bend, coming to the Freaky Fast 1 to go. If you'd like to sponsor the White Flag here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, message us on Facebook in our Freaky Fast 1 to go here at Cota for the Underdog Racing League Xfinity Series.
One final time for Jason Finsler. He hits turn 1 beautifully right at the apex. Downhill now, headed to the S's for the final time. Right there, though, Earhart, man, just put down a burner of a lap, 2:20.8. It's going to be a little bit too late as he's 4.6 seconds back. What a lap time by him, though, just showing what possibly could have been for the 25.
Well, it's not over yet. We've seen drivers make massive mistakes, and it's still about 4.4 seconds is the difference. But if Jason Finsler might be, could have been thinking about just cooling off his tires and making sure they're at least solid. He doesn't have to worry about getting too loose on this final lap. But man, Jason Finsler, what a change. One stage certainly was. I touched on it. These drivers were getting really aggressive in that first stage, and you can get that, information of how much did I burn off my tires? Do I need to back off? Can I get more aggressive? And right now, all the right information was given to the 5. as he's trying to go for win number 5 this season in the Xfinity Series. And
Loveland.
oh no, Loveland going to be losing ground. See the hills
Ringer.
bobbing up and down. The battle for that 3rd place position still underway as they go into the heartbreaking zone of turn 12.
He's going to send it. He's definitely going to send it. We see him do it before. Loveland goes defensive here. Ringer around the outside. What can he do? Trying to outbreak him on the outside here. Very tough position. Here comes Loveland down the inside. He's going to try to get the power down. He holds off that position, but here comes Ringer on the outside.
Ringer's just got to stay on the quarter panel. He wants to be on the inside. If he can get to the quarter panel, push Loveland up. He's got a quarter cut. Missed the whole entire, that whole entire turtle. And it's not going to be enough. Loveland, he's still slipping and sliding, giving another shot to Ringer. As the laps are gone, the corners ticking away. James Loveland up front. No mistakes for the 5, as he's only got 2 more corners to go.
And I tell you what, he made it interesting because Earhart closed the gap down here in the final 2 laps as Finsler just tried to cruise to victory here. He's going to come out of the final corner and get that victory. Earhart's going to get 2nd, but Loveland looks like he's going to hang on here, Sam, and get that 3rd spot for a hard-fought position to get by him.
Oh man, Brad Ringer did everything in his power to try to get to the back bumper, slipping and sliding. He was there for a second and gone in a moment. But oh man, Trevor Earhart over the radio already saying if he had 1 more lap, maybe he could have gotten there, man. It was going to be a close one. But also you got to be thinking, if Trevor Earhart was in his rhythm and he wasn't constantly battling for 5-6 laps in a row, what if, man, because Jason Finsler, he loved the fact that he was able to just pull away, have that 6-second gap lead to work with and lean on. And he certainly did lean on it and able to get the win here today for the 5.
That he did, Sam. Congrats to Jason Finsler. What a drive it was to get another road course win here in the Xfinity Series and beat the guy who was very solid in stage 1 and the winner from last time here we were here in the Truck Series.
Well, we get to pace it again. So just Finsler racing around. He's got enough fuel to do at least a couple of burnouts, and I think that's where he's aiming. Get to the start line, and also hope for all the other drivers to finish out the race before anyone else gets into incidences. But man, Zach, what a season it's been for this 5 machine, getting another win for himself as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, he's just showing new levels again of Jason Finsler. You know, he talks about how road courses are not his forte. This season, he's shown he's went to the workhouse and he's definitely sharpened his tools and made them a little bit better out here as he's come out here and put on a clinic in the final stage. And you know, I just got to give him credit for he changed. Like some drivers will run that first stage exactly the same way they did before and make the same exact mistakes. He knew what his mistakes were that first stage. He fixed them, got out front, rode a smooth ride out there, and just kind of never really had to worry about it as them guys battled behind him. So, sometimes you'll take that battle behind you and you can just drive it away into the sunset.
That is certainly what Finsler did as he's coming around the final bend at the start-finish line. It's going to be able to burn it down. He's got a couple of drivers behind him. Going to give him a couple of love taps as Earhart's coming to the 5. And Jason Finsler at the start-finish line gets to burn it down here at the Circuit of the Americas as the 5 gets to burn it down. Man, we get to catch our breath as this was a blast of 25 laps of constant action. Road course racing at Cota. We'll be right back in a few to interview our top 3. That of Jason Finsler, that of Trevor Earhart, James Loveland. We will be right back here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting in just a few.
off the rubber. All right, we're back here, everybody, for our post-race interviews as we got our top 3 up here. As James Loveland, what a drive by this guy to get back to third. Replicating his third-place finish he had in the Truck Series here last year, too. So what a drive for James. Let's hear from him and the trials and tribulations he went through tonight. Hey, James, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, James, well, man, what a drive tonight, man. Wild stage one there where you, were, right there in the top 5, having some great battles with some drivers out there. Made a little bit of a mistake there, got, spun around, and then, man, had to restart in that 9th position there in stage 2, and you drove yourself into a top 3 as it got some wild action in front of you there, man. Kind of take us through there because you had to really be patient there through that final portion of that race.
Yeah, in the first stage, I was just trying to keep it in the top 5, and I had my mistake happen. It always happens every road course race. I got to figure something out. But yeah, I had that little mistake and just tried to get to the end of the stage there. And after the stage completed, I was like, I got to drive up there to even compete for a win. And not really playing for a win, just wanted to get a top 5 today, but I ended up getting a top 3, and that's solid for me. I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely, man. It backs up your third-place finish your last time from Cota 2 in the truck, so able to replicate that. That's a good for yourself there also. So consistency at this racetrack. We had a big update today. So I don't know if you put any laps throughout the week here at Cota, but, any differences you've noticed with this update? Because definitely a big change they brought to these cars.
I honestly don't know. I never ran the Xfinity cars at Cota until today, so I mean, it felt a little more tighter, I guess you could say, in corners. A lot of off throttle. That's probably why we were saving some gas. But yeah, it was a little different. But I really don't know because I haven't run an Xfinity car here before.
Well, man, I tell you what, it was fun to watch you guys battle out there tonight. A lot of action out there on the racetrack, putting on one heck of a show, James. Congrats on third here tonight, man. Anybody you want to send a shout out to before we let you go, though?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for the broadcast, and shout out to the Underdog Racing League, great league, and shout out to F5 Motorsports, Motorsports, for a solid second, third place finish tonight.
Well, James, man, congrats on third place here tonight. We'll catch you next time, buddy. Have a great night, James.
You guys, thanks.
All right, everybody. That was James Loveland, your third place finisher here tonight at Cota. Let's move on to the defending race winner here, Trevor Earhart from the Truck Series last season. Just coming up a little bit short here tonight after winning stage 1. Let's hear from the man in the 25 who thought he had a good shot at it here tonight. Hey, Trevor, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what, man, what a race it was between you guys out there tonight. That was so fun to watch up here in the booth. You guys sliding around, doing everything in your power to keep these cars on course, man. When you won that first stage, man, looked very, very smooth there. Worked over the 2 drivers, Jason Fensler and Robert Rader, there to get that stage win, man. Just not able to get with it there in the second stage, coming up a little bit short after some battles there, letting Jason Fensler get out there. Kind of take us through your plan and your mentality here tonight, because it seemed like you had the 2 guys in front of you there, especially in stage 1. They were slipping and sliding around. I know you had to be seeing it because we were watching it in the 53, and even Jason sliding around a lot, where it seemed like you were a lot less, slipping and sliding around, trying to conserve more.
Yeah, I kind of went into it the same mentality I went into it last season, which was conserve the rear tires, and following those guys definitely helped in the first stage, watching them slide around. And we had a great battle. And at the stage break, I kind of wanted to come out behind one of them, and it kind of worked out that way when I blew turn 1 on the restart. But Rotor and I had a great battle there for like 3 or 4 laps. That let Jason get away from us, and I had to slow down somewhere in there. Needed one more lap. I was running him down. I think one more lap and we would have been there. But hats off to Jason. He was able to pull away from us as we battled. Wish him and I could have battled it out there at the end, but I had a lot of fun. I mean, what can I say? That was a blast of a race. My favorite road course that we go to. So I'm glad we put on a good show for you guys.
Oh, it was definitely a good show, my friend. Yeah, me and Sam hooting and hollering up here as you guys went back and forth through stage 1 and stage 2 there. It was very, very Much of a pleasure to call, I must say. So thank you guys out there on the track also. But I talked to James there, asked him a little bit about the update we got. We got a pretty big update to the tires and the suspension, especially to this Xfinity car. I imagine you did some laps throughout the week before this, tonight. So can you take us through like if you've seen any changes or what felt like, what was the update like, pretty much?
Um, compared to I ran some laps over the weekend and felt pretty comfortable with the car, and then the update, I didn't get a lot of laps in before practice. I think I got about 2 or 3 in between the update and then getting home from work. But definitely felt like you could feel the body roll a little bit more. The right side definitely, in my opinion, I felt like it rolled over on the right side a whole lot more, and you could feel the tires come off the ground. So there's that little kink before you get to the hairpin on the back straightaway, and if you hit that just right and carry the speed, you would carry the left front, so you could feel that. But overall, I think it's a really good update. I think the cars themselves, as long as you can keep the rear tires on it, handled really well, and I think it showed that. I mean, 3 of us put on a 10 lap, knockout drag out fight. So I think overall it's a good product.
Hey man, it definitely was. It definitely showed here tonight on the racetrack, and it was fun to watch, Trevor. Man, congrats on second and putting on a show here for us tonight, man. Before we let you get out here and head on to next week, anybody want to send a shout out to on that 25 machine?
Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Shout out to the league. Shout out to the Earhart Group and Bank of Oklahoma. Those guys jumping on board this week to help out, and I'm hoping that this turns our season around. We've had some ups and downs, so I'm hoping it's nothing but ups from here. But congratulations to Jason and Loveland for the win in the 3rd place, and I'll see you guys next week.
All righty, Trevor, you have a great night, man, and we will catch you next week, my friend.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody, that was Trevor Earhart in the number 25 machine, your 2nd place finisher here tonight, as we'll move on to our race winner and our 5-time winner now this season, Jason Finsler, the 5 machine. That's a lucky number 5 here, I guess. So we'll have to talk to Jason about what he produced here tonight in this 5 machine. Hey, Jason, Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, man, back in victory lane, you are, Jason. 5th win of the season in the number 5 machine. What a race it was, though, and what a move down to turn 1. We'll get into that move there as that's stage 2. But, man, kind of take us through stage 1, Jason, because you guys were slipping and sliding back and forth, and kind of, was right there in 3rd after Earhart got by you there and kind of rode along, But just take us through that first stage, because that was a lot of back and forth sliding you guys did.
Yeah, it was an intense battle. Those guys, man, it was a lot of fun. The entire race was, but that first stage was intense, and I just burned the rear tires off of it. So I was just trying to bring her home in 3rd there at the first stage, and in the 2nd stage, I just wanted to take care of the rear tires.
Yeah, that's definitely what we see, man. You definitely made a huge improvement there on that. Didn't see the 5 sliding around nearly as much there in that stage. And what a move it was down into 1. I'm sure that was unexpected when you had the 53 going up the inside to be able to cross over and take the lead there.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not see that materializing there, but it happened, and I had a good little corner there, apexed it well, so it kind of shot us out in the lead. And then honestly, to Trevor and Robert battling like that really kind of saved me, because it built me a gap, and I was able to concentrate on taking care of the tires.
Yeah, it definitely was a big factor of them guys battling, letting you get out to that lead and able to take care of your equipment. But man, what a change it was from stage 1 to stage 2 for yourself to make a huge improvement out front and pull away with that victory, man, for race win number 5. I talked to the other 2 guys about the update. What's your thoughts on the new suspension and tires that we brought to the road course? Because it seems like it put on one heck of a show for us.
Yeah, I mean, I could really tell a big difference on the road course. The travel of the car is a lot different. You can definitely feel it hiking the tires, going back and forth, left to right. So I kind of liked it. It was a little bit to get used to, especially jumping into a race. But it'll be interesting to see what it does on ovals.
That it will be, man. It will be fun to see how it all shapes out the rest of the season. But win number 5 here tonight at Cota and win number 2 in a road course this season, man. Congrats on that. Also, that's awesome stat to have for you here in the Xfinity Series. But as always, before we let you get out of here, Jason, anybody want to send a shout out to, my friend?
Yeah, I just want to send a big happy birthday to my niece, Casey, it's her birthday here in a few days, and a big happy birthday to my dad. It's his birthday here in a few days. So they always tune in and watch you guys' broadcast. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys putting on a good broadcast, and then all the competitors. It was a heck of a race.
That it was, Jason. Thank you very much for putting on the show out there with your competitors out there. It was a pleasure to broadcast, my friend, and we will catch you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you very much.
You have a great night.
You too.
All right, everybody. That was Jason Finsler, your race winner. What a race win it was. Win number 5 of the season. He's just been on a roll. Second win in the last 2 weeks, also after winning in Richmond. So great job by him there. And the 5 machine is we'll be looking to pull up our race results here tonight to see where your drivers finished out here at the Circuit of the Americas. And what a race it was. If you missed out, you're tuning in now, make sure you go back and check this out later, because this is a race you're going to want to watch as these drivers put on one heck of a show. Jason Finsler, though, bringing home that 5th victory of the season, beating our defending race winner here at Circuit of Americas, Trevor Earhart, in the 2nd position. 3rd is going to go to James Lovell with a solid spot. 4th is going to be Brad Ringer. 5th going to be Robert Rader after sitting on pole here tonight. 6th is going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. 7th is going to be Christopher Heights. 8th is going to be Ray Lane. 9th going to go to Grant Thrope. 10th is going to be Matt Jobe after a solid top 10 finish there from him. 11th is going to go to Nick Alves. 12th after Justice Murphy and Robert Rader come in contact there in the final few laps is going to end up in 12th. 13th is going to be Peyton Presley. 14th, Sean Huffsteller. 15th is going to be Dylan Walshman in the Freaky Fast Machine. 16th is going to go to Jacob Sekrovich. 17th is going to be Parker Johnston. 18th, John Magner. 19th is going to be Cody Dorsey. 20th is going to go to David Will. 21st is going to go to Scott Kierberg. 22nd, Dane Moyer, as that rounds out your field here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas for, man, I'm telling you, 25 laps of just amazing racing and stock car action on a road course. And Sam, it has been a pleasure to call it with you tonight, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember why I love the Underdog Racing League so much. They put on a show each and every week, and they did it once again. iRacing, props to iRacing. This new road course that they have really been able to, road course setup for the Xfinity cars is amazing and brilliant, and put on a great show. Like Zach said, if you came in late, you've got to go back, watch stage 1 and the way that we went into stage 2, because that was one of the funnest racing road course wise that I've seen in a long time. And it was a pleasure to be up in the booth to watch that.
Oh, that it was, Sam. We had a pleasure up here, and thank you all for tuning in, as always, here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It has been so fun to have you all out in chat, joining alongside us in this wild action out here on the racetrack. Like you said, make sure if you just tuned in, go back and tune into that first stage and the start of the second stage. It is some of the best action I've seen. I would say the best race of the season also. So, man, what a time it's been here tonight, as we're going to look to send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast here at the Circuit of the Americas.
Whew. Everybody take a deep breath. What a race. What an awesome race. Great calling, Sam. Great calling, Zach. These guys put on one well of a show, and these guys put on one well of a show. You know what? I want to do this again. I mean, honestly, that was just something else. I like to see what these Xfinity's cars can do, say like at Watkins Glen, other Road America, places like that. I wonder, it probably got some good action with that. But eventually we should be able to have, a broadcast with a league that runs these Xfinity cars with, at them tracks. But speaking of Xfinity cars, our next televised broadcast for the Xfinity cars is going to be tomorrow night at New Hampshire with Stars and Stripes with Sam Dyer, and Hunter Hayward's going to be calling all the action tomorrow night, and that's going to be fun to watch them guys. Make sure you tune in around 9:20 when we go live and see what they can do there at New Hampshire. This is going to be the first time we'll get to see what this new big update that iRacing gives us on the oval side of things, kind of short track racing. But that's going to be awesome. And for Underdog, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be at Bristol. So we'll see how that all handles. Short track racing, beating and banging, bumping, pushing. It's going to be a lot of action going on throughout the week. But with that being said, again, we'd like to say thank you to everybody for tuning in out there. And hopefully you enjoyed this stream. And if you did, hit that like button. And don't forget to share it with your friends and family. on any of your favorite social media platforms. But until tomorrow night, we're going to say from here, from Cota down here in sweet Texas, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.